What will Six Flags Over Texas in Arlington, Texas look like 5 years from now? Will it be the same middle tier park, or will it be treated like a top tier park with better theming and better rides and more coasters? Tune in on JV Future to find out. Welcome to another episode of JV Future, where we explore the future of theme parks. Today, we explore the first ever Six Flags park, Six Flags Over Texas in Arlington, Texas. The park has been getting lots of flat rides except for this year. But does that mean we're going to have to go to another drought of roller coasters? Well, today in JB Future, we're going to travel to 10 years in the future of Over Texas. Every year exploring the brand new ride they get. The problem is, the gas in my DeLorean is only 10 years, so we can't see any farther. Also, full disclaimer, some of the predictions of the rides I make for the future is based on my opinion and what Six Flags Over Texas needs, and some are based on facts a little bit, but some are kind of not. It's mostly just my opinion. This isn't fact or anything. This isn't like, oh, it's real, it's official, that I'm predicting it as my prediction. It's not really, just for fun to say what type of ride it would be perfect for the park. So anyways, let's begin. If you remember, 2020 was a major year for the whole world, with the whole pandemic hitting us hard and nobody preparing for it. Now the economy is really hurt and lots of businesses are going bankrupt. Six Flags almost went bankrupt, but was able to survive since they were able to open the park for the remainder of the year. But it still wasn't enough to the point where they could add humongous new additions for 2021. So in result, 2021, we had lots of small additions for the parks. The only ones who got some really good rides was Six Flags Magic Mountain and Six Flags St. Louis. But while we desperately wanted an RMC Raptor or an actually good coaster, and sorry about Aquaman, but it's just not the coaster we need, we did not get the RMC Raptor for 2021. Instead, we got this, Lone Star Revolution. Lone Star Revolution is a Zempella Super Air Race, almost exactly like Daredevil Dive flying machines in Fancy, Texas. Now while I still want a coaster, I actually enjoy this ride, and I'm happy to see it come in 2021, but I'm still wanting that RMC Raptor. And Lone Star Revolution took the place of the rodeo ride in the Texas section. The ride had some damage from the flooding in 2019, but at least it was being able to fix, and they were able to move it over to Frontier City. The only remnant of rodeo left is the Q Line building. If you remember, when you go inside, there's all this hotel theme, I guess, and you go in and you're waiting in that little shack or whatever. Well, that shack is still being repurposed for this new ride. Only thing is that now it's themed more to the Alamo, but there's still not much theme difference. It's just showing the history of stuff. It's not like how they made the Joker Funhouse, If only Over Texas was that good at theming. But I gotta say, I actually agree this ride for 2021. It's cheap, it's fun, and these rides are really unique, and I'm actually pretty happy to see it for 2021. So let's go to 2022 now. In 2022, Six Flags finally has money again. But Over Texas, since they got Aquaman Powerwave in 2020, we're still on cooldown, supposedly, because we got a big coaster, even though it's not the one we need. So once again, we get a flat ride. But this time, maybe it's not a bad flat ride. I would say it's one of a flat ride that kind of shocks that we actually got it. But here's the sad thing. The ride replaces Dive Bomber Alley. Dive Bomber Alley is a sky coaster, even though it's not a coaster, but you know those swing rides where you get strapped on or whatever and you swing? Well, Six Flags Over Texas had one of those. And it's an upcharge attraction. And by upcharge, I mean upcharge. That thing was expensive. But it looked like a lot of fun. But even though it was okay for a ride, people still didn't pay that much money, and the ride was pretty much empty most of the time. So Over Texas finally had the sense to remove the ride for good this time. And if you remove that, you have plenty of room. That's plenty of room right there. Obviously not room for a roller coaster, but room for at least 2 flat rides to fit in the area. But in 2022, we get 1 flat ride, and we get this: Lex Luthor Invertitron. Lex Luthor Invertitron will be a booster rides, almost like the one from ADK Outlaw in Great Escape or Catwoman Whip for Six Flags St. Louis in 2020. Six Flags is cloning them around just like the Larson Loops and the SNS Free Spins. And finally, it's over Texas's turn. Luckily, we're not getting a 2-seater one, we're getting the 8-seater, or 16-seater in a way. But this ride is pretty high. It stands at 150 feet. It's almost about the same height as Dive Bomber Alley, but it's way more intense. And you know, Over Texas needed this intense flat ride. Sure, they got the Riddler or Harley Quinn, but those are like mediocre. Well, except for Riddler. Riddler's actually pretty good. But these are insane. Only problem is capacity, and yes, there's a lot of problems with capacity with this ride. But it was the perfect replacement for Dive Bomber Alley, as well as not an upcharge, so that's pretty good. So for 2022, that ride, I give it a thumbs up. It's a pretty good ride. So let's move on to 2023. In 2023, the CEO, Mike Spanos, is doing a very good job with the park. He's found a plan to be cheap, but also really reliable and give good experience in the park. And in 2023, Six Flags gains the most money ever. Well, not in the whole theme parks, but ever recorded for Six Flags. So, we get a good treat with good rides at almost every single park. And for once, Over Texas gets that good ride. In 2023, we get this: the Texas Ranger Coaster. Texas Ranger Coaster is a brand new RMC Raptor clone. It is not a custom, but it is a clone and it is a Raptor, so I'm pretty happy with that. The ride takes the place of Yosemite Sam Gold River Adventure, as the ride has been sitting but not operating for 4 years already. And the queue line starts in the Chevy Stadium. In that small building right there where they used it for a haunted house last year. It was the art haunted house or whatever. Yeah, that's become a queue line for the brand new Texas Ranger Coaster. Texas Ranger's Coaster has the color of blue, red, and white, as well as the train looks like it's part of the Texas flag. And the queue line is pretty well themed. It looks like you're going into a sheriff's office. You see some jail cells, and you see wanted signs of some weird outlaws. And a reference to the Yosemite Sam ride there too, as well as the Speedlunkers ride. And finally, board the ride, and it's pretty good capacity. Actually, trains are a little bit longer than the one in Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster in Fiesta, Texas. And while a custom Raptor would be nice, I'm actually pretty happy with this. The ride is so tall, it feels like you're about to touch oil derrick. And you can see this ride from the freeway, so it's a pretty good addition. The ride also contains a man-made lake in the center, because now Six Flags is upping their theming, with some little water fountains around the ride, and during the night some lights flashing on the water. And a projection at night that shows the Texas flag over the water, which is amazing. So overall, the new ride for 2023 is a really good addition for Over Texas, and finally we get the coaster that they need. So let's go to 2024 now. In 2024, we are on cooldown once again because we just got a big new coaster. So obviously we're going to get a flat ride. And we're going to get that flat ride in a place no other person would probably expect. And by that, I'm being sarcastic. Because the area that is most likely to get another flat ride is the Gotham City section. That place has been packing up with flat rides and small coasters. And there's still some room, which is next to Hollywood's Insanity. And finally, they're using that room, and they took down one of the games in the Gotham City game section near Batman the Ride, and extended a path out into the unused area, and created a new ride named Poison Ivy Toxic Twister. And now, while this is not a scrambler at Over Georgia, because we already have one, this is a Zamperla Nebulas. Remember the one that everyone kept guessing for 2020 in Fiesta, Texas? Yeah, that one. We finally got that flat ride. It's mediocre, it's okay. And it's themed the Poison Ivy, so why not? Because it's fitting with the villain section. The ride entrance is where you go in to the Gotham game section, and the exit is right next to Harley Quinn's Insanity. This is okay. I guess this is okay for a cool down attraction. There could have been many other options for flat rides, but I guess they wanted to go with this. So enough talking about some flat rides. Let's go on to 2025. In 2025, a major thing happens through Six Flags. Six Flags Magic Mountain has realized how rough Riddler Revenge actually is, because over these years it's been getting progressively rough, but now it's painfully rough. So they have two options. 1, scrap the ride entirely, or 2, convert it. Over the years, ever since 2019, we've seen the spark of B&M changing their stand-ups to floorless, and it's going like wildfire all over America and the whole entire world. At this point, stand-ups are almost extinct, and Riddler Revenge is one of the last to remain, but because of its roughness, they decided to do the floorless conversion. The thing is, it's a lose-lose either way. Magic Mountain would still lose a coaster. Whether or not they were going to remove Riddler or convert it, they cannot have two floorless coasters in the same park. So, because Scream was a mediocre coaster, and Riddler Revenge with the layout will be perfect for a floorless, we see the removal of Scream. Now don't worry, Scream is not going to be gone forever like scrapped. No, because of the new revamped ride rotation where basically the rule is if they don't want this ride anymore because of any purpose, like not just to switch it out, but because if you really do not want it anymore, you can give it to another park before scrapping it. So they did, and they decided to give Scream to Over Texas. And yes, I know that sounds extremely crazy, but it's true. Where is Scream gonna go, you may ask? Well, Scream is gonna go in the stadium in the back. You know that stadium that's empty and been unused only for like training or auditions for dancers? Well, because they have so many other stadiums, they do not need the other one anymore. So they just tear it down, all of it. This gives plenty of room to fit in a new coaster. And of course, we see Scream go there. Obviously, the ride's name is not going to be the same anymore. Because this is technically the Texas section that the ride is in, the ride's name is called El Loco, and it'll be themed to a bull. Sort of a reference to rodeo in a way. The floorless, even though if it's mediocre, is a perfect for audition for Six Flags. I understand people say, oh, I hate it because it's mediocre, but I do not care, because it's a floorless going to Over Texas who needs a coaster and a good coaster lineup. They now have a B&M Hyper, and they recently just got an RMC Raptor, as well as the water coaster, the Hyper. They also got the classic Schwarzkopf coaster. They also have a Woody, a launch coaster, and the standard clones, and the RMC Hybrid. Six Flags Over Texas has finally rounded up their coaster lineup. They have everything for everybody. Obviously, there's still some new coasters we need, but they almost got everything. They now have a good 1-2 coaster punch. You can go ride their RMC Raptor, or go ride New Texas Giant, or ride New Texas Giant, and ride the brand new El Loco. Or ride Mr. Freeze, and ride El Loco, or ride El Loco and ride Texas Ranger. It's a good, rounded park now. So what's next for Over Texas? Well, I was reading the rules to my DeLorean, and apparently I can't go too far in the future, as in I can't go 10 years far in the future. And if you remember what happened when I went to Frontier City in the future and I went way too far where I kind of messed up the timeline, if I do not want to mess up the timeline right now, then I have to stop here. Luckily, when I went to 2025, I was able to see the announcement for the new coaster, or ride, coming in 2026. It wasn't really, I don't even know if it's coaster or flat ride, it was just a teaser, like what they always do. But the teaser was in the Texas Stadium. The one between Superman and Oil Derrick. It looks to me they're about to demolish it. But that's all I know for 2025 or 2026. So I better get back home now. So I successfully have made it back to 2020. But, like I said, sometimes things change. And if I told you guys about the future, maybe something else changes and what I said or predicted that would happen no longer will. What do you think of the future of Six Flags Over Texas?
Does it look bright, or does it still look gloomy to you? Thanks for watching. This is JV Thrills, signing out.